Hiya, it's Angel, I'm back. I kind of got some good feedback. It's just a shame it was like face to face with my last video. Sorry, I'm just going to put this away before I knock everything off. I've been making earrings again. But like my first video was about ignorant people against wheelchairs and everything. And move you across. And I still have the exact same problem. What nobody realises, I know I shouldn't be laughing at it because it's happened to me so many times. When I'm in the wheelchair, I am at arse height. I hate it. Because I've had it where I've been cut up before by an old lady and then I was stuck behind her. It was like the tortoise and the hare, but the hare was stuck in a wheelchair and couldn't overtake the tortoise. And she farted right in my face. No apologies, nothing. She didn't even flinch. Like, big whoop. If she's deaf, she can't hear it, but you can still bloody well feel it coming out your arse, can't you? But moving on. But sometimes, like, it feels like I'm just rolling through a new age Chernobyl when everyone's farting. Like, I expect to turn around and just see clumps of hair that I'm leaving behind, like Hansel and Gretel. Just those stupid thoughts that come to your mind when you just smell the foulest smell you could ever smell. Another thing, I still get stared at way too much. It's fun sometimes, other times it's not. So like, when you stare at me, if you want a picture or an autograph, it's free. I am not going to charge you just for a picture with me and my four-wheeled chariot. Do you know what I mean? If you continue to stare though, I will turn around and ask if my hair, makeup, or if my battery is big enough for you to stare at whilst I just roll past like a whirring tumbleweed. It's like things like that. Even kids nowadays, I was always taught, I know I'm in a wheelchair, we were always taught you do never stare at somebody with a disability because obviously it makes them uncomfortable. And it does. It makes me feel so uncomfortable. Apart from the days when you need somebody to hold the door open and that's the one day you don't exist. Those days I love because I sit there and I'm like, oh shoot. And everyone looks at me and they're like, are you all right? I'm like, no, I've got the wrong perfume on. Nobody can see me today. Damn it. And I just go on like that. It's fun. But just when kids stare at you, right, I sit there and I'm like, just ask me what's wrong with me. I don't mind telling them and confusing them what's wrong with me. It's easy to confuse people with what's wrong with me. It's fun. But it's one of those things, isn't it? But if you have kids or if kids are watching this, please don't stare at disabled people. I'm being polite. If you want to know what's wrong with us, believe it or not, we are quite happy to tell you or your child what is wrong with us. I mean, me, I could just say, well, I'm on four wheels. What do you think? I was like Wally's big sister that was cast off to like space. But it's just one of those things that kids don't really have manners nowadays. Like, kids don't understand how to use please and thank you. I'm going to sound old, I'm only 24, but back in my day, if we didn't use please and thank you, we got told off, or we got clipped around the back of the head. Yes, it's illegal to smack your child now, but you can still sit down with your child and say, look, these are what manners are, please do not do this, you can do that. Do you know what I mean? It sounds so stupidly simple. But some kids, and then because the parents haven't taught them about disabled people and not to stare and to ask what's wrong or offer help, said disabled people do end up rather bitter. And it's not our fault. We're stuck in those wheelchairs. It's really not comfy. Our backsides go dead after at least, well, for me it's at least 30 minutes. My backside dies and then I can't feel it. It's one of those things. But like, and then those kids grow up, in turn, it's not their fault, hating disabled people because that one disabled person snapped at them when they were a kid. But it's not the disabled person's fault either. So parents, just be old-fashioned again, please. Like, manners literally cost nothing. It's cheaper than an Xbox. It's cheaper than a PlayStation, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a night out. And you've actually got proof that you spent your time well. A night out, you come home, you probably wake up the next morning with a hangover. Is that worth it? Just save your money and do family days out or something. But like, there's times where you'll have somebody stare at you and I'll sit there and I'm like, are you okay? And they're like, oh, you can talk. I'm like, yes? Is that okay? Like, they don't expect disabled people to be able to talk. Or what's even better is when a random chav, which they still sadly exist, will walk past you and see another wheelchair on the other side of the road or something. This is when I want to ram people. Because all you hear is this chav point to me, then point to the other wheelchair on the other side of the road and go, ha, your friend. And in turn, I just bounce it back on him and say, well, at least I have friends. And they never know how to answer me, but that's not my fault. Like back in school, all the drama guys were like, oh, are you a lesbian? And I just went, at least I can get myself a girl. Because they were all bloody single. But I don't know if I'm going to add any more to this video. I'm hoping to. I have started writing down a script for a, sadly, an Ian Watkins video about his life and how he just made it go wrong. Because I can't stand him. When I was a kid and all the girls were swooning over him, I could not stand him. He was always creepy to me. I couldn't look at him. Big whoop, he wore more makeup than me. I mean, I don't wear makeup. I don't give a toss. So I do apologise if you don't like looking at acne. Just look away and just listen. I really don't care how I look. I'm happy with me. I'm not going to change me for anyone else. But this video on Ian Watkins, I wish I could get my old laptop set up again, because I have the full court case hearing script that was typed up within his hearing, and it talked about what he did with the 15-year-old fan and what he did with younger kids and things like that, and the mothers, how they just sort of served their babies up on a silver platter for him because he's famous and he's Welsh. Because that makes sense. He's still a pedo. And in recent news, you probably have all seen it, doesn't matter what website you've gone on, he has been caught with a mobile phone up his backside. Let's just hope it wasn't on vibrate. Mind you, it probably was, because he'll enjoy that, won't he? Well, he's in prison, of course he'll enjoy it. Never mind. Moving on. So, to go on from that, because he was still in contact with one of his victims' mothers, and they are still in a relationship. He's only with her for a baby, who is not a baby anymore. Do you know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where it shows fame really can just go to your head. In more ways than one in some respects, because he probably thought that just paying people off could keep them quiet and keep him in the limelight. Not going to happen when somebody actually blabs. But now he's a convicted sex offender. I mean, I'm surprised he's still alive. I know it sounds horrible, right? But drug lords, killers, rapists, they don't like paedophiles. If he was in American prison, he would have been dead within 3 weeks of being in there. But over here, he's probably all cushy, got an Xbox, got a Facebook account, got a laptop, who gives a toss, and he'll still be in contact with kids. That's why I don't like the English legal system, because everything is so laid back in some respects. Like Myra Hindley and Ian Brady, they were allowed to write letters to each other. So were Fred and Rose West. They were allowed to write letters to each other. Big whoop, the guards had to read them first. I don't believe they should have been able to. So if he gets post, I hope they read his letters before he gets them, and vice versa. Because, and if it's in code, get somebody with dyslexia to sort it, to figure it out. they will do it like that. It is perfect. When you have a learning ability, it is the best thing you could ever have. My uncle has a few learning abilities, and he is now a welder. He's taught himself how to weld. He was a photographer, as you can see in my awful photography photos that I don't like, but I live with my mum, so I don't have a choice but to look at them every day, sadly. He taught himself how to play piano, guitar. He is brilliant at everything. And then you get kids and people his age where they have nothing wrong with them, and they're sat on the dole. My uncle is really, really trying. But then you get the little dole dossers that if Jeremy Kyle was still running, they'd be on there in 6 weeks' time when the kids go back to school. Do you know what I mean? But there are so many things I can't wait to start doing on YouTube. I'm hoping to start a second account so I can talk about serial killers and things like that, because it's my favourite topic of conversation. Ever since I was like 15, I've always read things about serial killers because I'm intrigued on the whole nature versus nurture. When I did childcare, I linked each theorist to a serial killer, and it actually helped me pass my exam. I was the only one to pass my exam first time. I was over the moon with myself. I didn't think I had a brain. Well, normally I don't have a brain. But people are different, don't treat them different. I mean, I'm flipping out, big whoop. If you see me going into McDonald's, I don't mind if you move a chair so I can park up to a table. Just don't go, is that alright? Do you need any more help? And I'll just sit there and go, no, but you do. It just comes out. It's one of those things. Like, I was sat on the bus the other day, and on the buses up here in England, sort of thing, at the back of the bus you get like the one long bench that all the cool kids sit on. Then in front of that you have 2 sets of 4 chairs, and those 4 are like facing each other. Normally I sit there, and my brain was like, no, for God's sake, just don't sit there, please don't sit there. So I thought, right, I'll sit in the seat in front of it. Thank God I did, because about 3 stops, I don't know if they were a couple or just best friends or awkwardness, but they both had the same hairstyle. They sat behind me on those 4 seats that face each other. It was actually rather funny, right? I could smell BO, and I thought it was me without thinking. I had my headphones on because I don't like listening to other people's conversations, because it's just not right, and I always think of hilarious ways to like ruin the conversation. But I thought, oh God, is that me? Do I stink? I actually thought it was me that stank. So I got my my men's aftershave, because I don't really like using women's stuff. It's too sweet and ugh. So I got it out my bag and I started spraying myself. And this guy spun round, looked at me. I had my headphones in, so all I heard was like mumbling. So I took one headphone out, paused my music, and I went, sorry, I had my headphones in, are you okay? And he just went, are you trying to say I stink? And I looked, and he went, why are you spraying? And I looked again, and I was like, because I stink. He went, well, you're trying to make out that I stink. And I went, oh my God, it was you. I goes, I thought it was me. And then I didn't think about what I just said, put my headphones back in, turned my music back on, and carried on. I didn't think until like 3 hours later. I sat there and I was like, he could have beat me up then. It's just one of those things when you're so stupid, you don't think, but it's innocently the way it comes across. It's amazing. Oh, there was another moment like that, and I can't remember it now. Oh, I can't remember. Like, there was a taxi driver, oh my God. He wanted to take me out dancing, and I'm like, mate, I've got a wheelchair. He goes, it's fine, we can dance with the wheelchair, da 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 da, going on, going on, going on. And he goes, you're not married? I went, do I look it? He goes, well, no. I goes, well then. So he carried on wanting to take me out for nights out and everything. And he went, he dropped me off and he went, so are you going to come out with me next weekend? And I went, oh, I'm sorry, I really can't. And he looked at me and he goes, why? And I went, because I'm getting ready for in 6 weeks' time, I'm heading to a convent. Like, as in, I'm going to become a nun. And let me change this as a new ringtone. But it was just the way I went, yeah, I'm you know, going to one of them. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're a woman of God. I'm so sorry. I should never have done that. And he knocked 5 pence off my flipping taxi ride. And I sat there and I was like, it's fine, it's fine. I goes, I'm just a man, I'm just a woman of God. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, yes, I'm still so sorry. Stopped him. I'm sorry. When you're disabled, you look like me. You do not expect guys to try and chat you up. I have been told most of my life, like, oh, nobody will ever want you, or, oh, you're ugly, or, because you've got the wheelchair, you'll never find somebody to truly love you. Do you know what I mean? And I used to always sit there and go, do you know what? I don't really care. As long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. So, but sorry if this video's shorter than my first one. I'm going to start writing down more things to talk about, and I'm hoping to start that second YouTube channel for the serial killers and things like that, because that one I'm so excited to do, because episode 1 will be Fred and Rose West of 25 Cromwell Street. It's a really, really good story when you think about it, until you realise it's real. Then you think it's not a really good story. So, but yes, thank you again for watching. Like, subscribe, share, whatever. I think my Twitter and my Instagram will be somewhere on here. I'll just put it like that, on here. But from there, I shall head off and let you guys go and get a cup of tea, because you'll probably need it now, because you'll have dry mouth like me. I need another cup of tea. But yes, thank you again for watching, and I shall talk to you later. Bye bye.